You're going live?
All right. Should I start saying things now? Or... There we go. All right. Hey. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us for a quick character creation session here for the Power Rangers role-playing game. The character we make together here available on the Renegade Studios Power Rangers RPG website here sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm Ben Heisler, the associate producer of role-playing games here at Renegade. I work mostly on the SS20 system, mostly on G.I. Joe and Power Rangers. And today I'm going to be excited to walk through character creation with Briana DeCoster. Briana, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Hello, I'm Briana, but many people may know me on the interwebs as Utahime. I am a cosplayer, streamer, overall TTRPG enthusiast and lover of all things RPGs. And also, too, I am also one of the hosts for Tabletop News. And I'm super excited. I love Power Rangers. I've been a fan since the OG show. So I'm so happy to be back here again with you, Ben.
Well, I'm super glad to have you back. The Lunar Like and Subscribe monster that we put together for the last Renegade Con is available now at the Renegade Game Studios Power Rangers RPG websites. And that's a free monster you can get that we put together. And you can watch the stream where we put it together during the last Renegade Con. But today, instead of making a monster, we're going to make a player character who may be a monster, but I'm not quite sure if we're going to go that route or yet not.
Never know. Might be turned evil. You know, we know that happens in the Rangerverse. So,
I mean, but you have to start like conflicted and broody, though, right? And then you can eventually turn evil so that you can have your redemption arc.
Exactly.
I love it. So we're going to assume that this character creation takes place during our group session 0, which is a pre-game discussion where all the players gather with the DM, and that's me in this scenario, and we talk about the story before we start playing it. So a common part of that session 0 is getting all the players together to talk about what kind of characters they want to play, and then helping them make the characters one-on-one with the DM or together as a group, and that way we make sure that all the characters know each other in some way or another, that we don't have a big overlap on our skills, that everybody has a chance to shine. And we also talk about important things for the game. So for instance, we're going to assume that I've already told everyone that I want to do a story with some time travel elements. So if you want to include some weird time travel stuff on your character, then that's super open. I'm also going to be asking Briana some questions about what type of game she wants to play, because there's a bunch of time travel elements I can pull from different parts of the show that will help make the game more exciting for her and for the other players when they get to see those little touches that I've sprinkled in. So, Briana, tell me a little bit about your character.
Yes. So basically, I kind of imagine, first of all, her name is Nicole Freeman. And I imagine that she was probably born and raised in Angel Grove. I think at an early age, she got into martial arts. I think it was kind of a way for her not only to have a sense of discipline, but also to a little bit of self-defense. I mean, we all know that there's bullies out there who are not always the nicest and make life a little difficult at school. And so I think it was kind of her way of just gaining self-confidence and also to be able to stand up for herself and her friends. So she did train specifically kind of in Filipino martial arts, so like Arnis Eskrima. And she really looked up to her Sifu, her teacher. And I feel like that kind of led to her wanting to eventually, open her own dojo and offer different classes for everyone and in the neighborhood, in the community. So.
All right, cool. Well, it sounds like you've got a really interesting and layered character to start out with. They're obviously tied to Angel Grove. And so that gives me a lot of opportunities to GM. So it sounds like she already runs her own dojo. Is that her aspiration?
That is her aspiration. I had it where basically she, at least because being a fan of the OG show, I kind of had it where she was actually one of the managers at the juice bar.
Oh, yeah, no,
Charlie's
that's
G Store
great.
and gym. So she's kind of working her way. So she's saving up. She attends Angel Grove University. She's just fresh faced, ready to kind of jump into trying to build. Build her experience in business and kinesiology to try to basically be the best at everything she does, because that's kind of, when you get into that world of martial arts, especially when you're starting to get into competitive competitions, you want to be the best. You want to work hard, and you strive for excellence. And I feel like that kind of carried on into her schooling, and then also to what she's trying to strive to do. So she's planning on doing that eventually once she finishes school.
Okay.
Big
So
aspirations.
does
Yeah.
yeah, these are great aspirations, and it tells me a lot about your character, which is important for what the bad guys are going to do to drive you crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
So speaking of bad guys, are there any specific bad guys from across Power Rangers, time and space, and all that stuff that you want to battle that I can keep in mind?
Ooh, I would love, if we're doing time travel a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Uh, as I mentioned before in the previous stream, Scorpina is one of my favorite favorite villains.
All right.
I think she's constantly trying to prove herself in a way to Rita and the gang. So I feel like that kind of is that weird connection between the two, because Nicole is a bit of a perfectionist and is trying to prove herself. And also too, Scorpina does that, I feel.
No, I really like that. That's cool because that's a nice foil for us to play off of. So
Mhm.
Scorpina is a recurring villain. We'll just put that question mark there. But like, are we? Is this true enemies, or is this allies, or what?
Yeah,
What is
I don't
this? This will be
know.
exciting to go through. All right. Well, normally when we think about Rangers, we often think of the first color associated. So have you figured out this Nicole's role?
Yes,
Have you
I feel
decided on a
like
color?
yes, I feel like yellow is perfect for Nicole.
Yellow. All right.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Taking a quick look into the mechanic side, I'm going to open my book and go take a look at yellow. That will tell me what what our first 3 points of essences are and our first 3 skills. And we'll circle back to this in just a moment. Be nice if I went directly to the page that was on instead of going through all of them, but these things happen. All right, so 2 speeds and 1 smart. All right.
I might be a little bit biased when it comes to yellow for reasons.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Yellow Rangers. So we does give us a question to start with. Do you want +1 acrobatics or initiative? Are we reacting fast or moving?
I feel
gracefully?
like reaction fast, so I feel like acrobatics.
Okay. So my other options are finesse and alertness. All right. Well, one of our big 3 taken care of. So that leaves us origin and influences. Do you have any ideas on where you want to start there, or do we want to explore our options a little bit?
We can explore a little bit. I was thinking because of the fact that she's super active, and she has the experience with actual like martial arts tournaments and such.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like athletic would fit pretty well, but at the same time, I'm open to hearing thoughts as well on that.
All right. Well, thinking about your character and what we talked about, going quickly through the list, athletics certainly fits. I could also see popular maybe, since you are looking out for other people and teaching them, but that could also go into a caretaker type of influence along with martial artists when we get there.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you got involved with martial arts because someone, in addition to wanting that self-confidence and self-respect, unless you lost someone in a tragic manner, or if someone told you that you couldn't do martial arts and you rebelled against them to take up to become a martial arts master.
Oh, I mean, I don't feel like it was anything tragic, like, and it wasn't,
Okay.
a loss in any way. I can see where she might be, it's a possibility that she was challenged by someone as far as skill, like if it was possible for someone maybe of her stature or size to accomplish what she eventually does in the space. So that's a potential path as well we could go with. But I know she definitely puts a lot of like she's definitely training hard. So that's why I was thinking that leaning towards athletic because of the fact that she tries to make sure that she's constantly taking care of her temple, her body, and basically, making sure that she's capable of actually eventually running her own dojo. You have to be at the top of your game and know what you're doing. That's for sure. If you're teaching,
All right. Well, that
I would
sounds
hope
good.
so.
Right. Like learn a little bit of your own limitations and also help shed some of that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
All right. So athletic gives us a boost to strength or speed by +1. No idea where you want to put that.
I think speed. I think speed. I think it's one of those things where she may not always be the strongest of the group because sometimes I know, at least from my own personal experience in tournaments, I would go against people who were 6 foot tall and I'm only 5'6", and guys who weighed over 200 pounds. So sometimes you don't know if you're going to be put into those sparring situations where someone's like twice, 3 times your size, and you have to handle that. And speed is definitely a good way to handle it. Let me tell you.
Sounds good to me. All right. So if we have +1 speed, looking at athletic, our speed-based options are acrobatics, finesse, and initiative. And to remind, acrobatics is all about moving gracefully and swiftly. Finesse is the dex or the speed-based score for doing martial combat and generally melee weapons. And initiative is reaction time and going faster than others. So it sounds like if you're doing martial arts, probably looking at finesse, but
yes,
I don't want to.
I would definitely think so.
All right,
that fits.
Okay. Well, we got a quarter of our essence points figured out. We've got some skills figured out by having our origin and our role taken care of. Let's talk influences. So,
all right.
Do you have any influences already picked out, or should we toss around some ideas? Clearly, martial artist is going to be one of them.
Yes, that was the thing, is that I know that in the system you're able to possibly choose more than one, like custom. I know there's a custom option, because I feel like it's not just martial artists or martial arts influence, but it's also too. I feel like there's a few others that could actually fit too.
Yep. Yeah, so in the system, you can choose up to 3 influences. For each influence you take after the first one, you need to take an associated hang up. And don't think of these, so these are flaws, but don't think of them like, these are just icky things for my character.
No, it makes it fun. I feel like a complex character or a character that has flaws, it makes it more fun, at least when I'm playing.
I mean, I 100% agree. I also try to make sure that players know that, like, playing into their hangups is a great way to get story points, which are a resource that are always useful at the table.
Like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can use it to actually go to your advantage, right?
Yeah, frequently.
Okay. I also saw, I thought about community helper because of the fact that she's trying to help others.
Our other ones include artisan. Oh, yeah. So were you thinking about caretaker there, or were you thinking about, sorry, it looks like we got a little bit of a delay.
Oh, so sorry. I was thinking another one that kind of came to mind. We talked about the sense of community in her own way, trying to give back to others, by opening her own dojo, her own studio. So I think that could possibly fit.
Okay. I think that both fits, and also the so we're looking at community helper, just to confirm.
And I believe we talked about martial arts as well.
Yep, we were. So with community
martial
helper,
artists. I'm so sorry, martial artists.
You're good. It's close enough. We knew what you meant. All right, so we're looking at community helper. You gain edge on any non-combat tasks related to your chosen service. So it recommends 4, but we can always go in a different direction. The 4 it recommends are EMT, for the skill being science, medicine. The firefighter, which is brawn for carrying stuff. Police officer, alertness. National Guard or other military initiative, but we could also come up with anything else that we think fits the character as far as how they aid in the community.
Yeah.
So is there a skill that you had in mind?
Well, thinking about the fact that for those particular ones, that's not really her focus, since she is like more of like a business owner.
Right.
So I feel like something more related to maybe social. I don't know if that's a thing, possibly.
Are you thinking more on the standpoint of being able to know what's going on? And like being a business owner, you hear a lot of gossip, or is it more like you are, or rather she is building bridges and creating goodwill, or
I think so,
else?
like creating those connections with the community, specifically people who are younger, like the youth, because of the fact that she was bullied when she was younger. So she's trying to be like, hey, here's a way to kind of, gain confidence, stand up for yourself, but also we're not trying to pick fights, use this knowledge to pick fights, but instead using it for good. And I think that's kind of her thing, is to try to help in that way.
So you teaching people how to fight, but also teaching them reasons.
Yeah, like how to. It's like having basically the awareness and being able to, if you're in that situation, you're able to kind of put a stop to it, or basically you can avoid it, I guess, because of the fact that you have a knowledge of how to fight. You can, it's a weird concept, I know, but because I trained growing up and I trained in wushu, it's the art of not fighting. Ironically, it's like basically knowing how to defend yourself, but also to basically cease as well.
Yeah, no, and I think that's I also did a little bit of martial arts when I was growing up, and that was a big part of it, of like, hey, know how to defend yourself, but all.
Oh no, I know we got a delay.
So I trained in Kukido, which is a bit of a delay. Did Kukido come through? My wife always likes to say that I'm a chef. I like to. I'm always about that cookie dough. But no, it's real. It's a Korean martial arts that I learned when I was in college.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
That's really, really cool. You don't hear that often, so that's really amazing.
All right, so we have 2 influence being martial artist, and community helper. Do we want to go for 3, or are we happy at 2?
Good question. I'm trying to think if there was any other one that I saw, but I don't think so. I think those were the 2 that stood out.
Okay.
Unless it was, the only other argument is teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That's
which definitely makes sense. Well, you just need to decide if that's one that we're also taking for its benefits, that allows you to give an additional D20 when you lend assistance, or if we want to just keep with the 2 that we have now. It would mean picking up the teacher hang up, which is in any non-combat situation which you have more skill than a team member, you force yourself into doing the task first, even if strategically or socially unsound.
That does sound kind of fun, though. I can do this. I know how to handle this. Just step back, step back. I got this, guys. I got this. No worries.
I love it.
Disaster. Or maybe not disaster. I don't know.
All right. So it sounds good. So we're taking the teacher hang up. We want to take the community helper hang up of you run into dangerous situations to help others without thinking, or the martial artist hang up of you have to you can't help but turn, or you have trouble turning down actions that goad you socially.
I think the community hang up. I think that works.
All right.
Maybe she gets a little too involved. So it's that whole like a mediator of like, hey kids, maybe you should need to stop this. But then also to even with adults that might end up in disaster because different situation.
Is Nicole the meddling auntie?
I feel like she might be. She might be.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Sounds good to me. All right. So that is all great stuff to know. So at this point, we need to figure out our essences and our skills. We have 12 points to throw around in our essences, and each point we put into an essence either gives us a skill point, lets us increase the rank of a skill from D2 to D12, or adds a specialization, but those are only important kind of after D4s. And to talk about what our spread is so far, we have 3 points in speed. I'm going to stop messing up the spreadsheet, I swear, guys. And 1 point in smarts. And our points in speed are in 1 acrobatics and 2 finesse.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already rocking a D4 when it comes to nimbly moving and also punching things.
Fantastic.
And our 1 point of smarts is in alertness. So, do you know what essence is most important for Nicole? Or what 2 essences are most important?
I think definitely finesse as far as more of the martial arts because of the fact that she spent since she was younger time training. So I feel like she would have like some type of like specialization of some sort. So definitely finesse for 1. I think maybe even streetwise.
All right. So streetwise is all about knowing what's going on in social situations, gathering information, rumors, and things like that.
Yeah, because of the fact that she's a part of the community and she's, made herself aware of what's going on in Angel Grove at this point. So I think it is, if she's the meddling auntie, she definitely, I feel like she knows the word on the street.
Yeah.
What's going on?
She's got to know what it is, who's doing what, with whom.
Exactly.
All right. So
it's like, don't be starting stuff in our town. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it. All right. What about the least important essence? It sounds like speed and social are pretty important to us. So between strength and smarts, which one of those is next interesting or least interesting?
I think, believe it or not, I don't think that because strength isn't everything, like physical strength. I feel like if you are, if you have speed and if you're, you have mobility, I feel like she's able to use that to her advantage. So that's been something that she's focused on. So I think she doesn't have to be the strongest, to be able to do well in what she does.
Okay. All right. Well, that all sounds good to me. So with our 12 points to spend, sounds like we're going to spend the fewest number of points in strength. We want to have at least 1 so that we're not unconscious.
Yes. Like she's strong enough where she's obviously, she takes care of herself. She's not gonna be, like you said, go down right away, but at the same time it's not let's go ahead and pump some iron, if that's not her thing.
Definitely not. All right, let's put 2 points there. We'll figure out what we're going to spend them on in a bit. So it sounds like social is our second highest. So let's go ahead and put 3
like
there.
Speed, social, smarts, strength.
All right. For those of you who are wondering why we're not filling the arrows, because I'm doing math, and you can probably smell the smoke, YouTube.
I'm like, thank goodness, someone to do math. You always need that person in the group.
Indeed. All right, so I've got 2 points in strength. I've got 6 points in speed to start with, 4 points in smarts, 4 points in social. This gives us 2 points to play with somewhere, which we will figure out here shortly. So in speed, we know that finesse is important. So do we want to have that at a D6, a D8? I don't think you need to be any higher than a D8 at most.
No, I think D6. D6 sounds good, I think.
All right. So it's 3 of our points there. We already have our 1 point in acrobatics from earlier. So that gives us another couple points to spend here. What else does Nicole do in addition to fighting and doing a little bit of acrobatics, as we talked about earlier? Does she do a lot of driving, like in perilous situations, or does she just drive when she needs to? And keep in mind that eventually when you get your Zord, this will also be your primary Zord skill. If you want to put any points there now.
Oh, that's true. As far as with the sword, I totally forgot about that. I felt like possibly alertness more so than the driving, though.
Okay.
Like she's aware of what's going on, not only in the community but around her, especially.
So
there's
we
a situation.
have one point there from yellow, so it's a D2. How many points do you think you're putting into alertness?
I feel like at least another for a D4.
Okay.
Because D2 seems a little bit low.
D2 is a little bit low, but it does protect you from suffering a snag on skill rolls.
That's true.
But D4 is a perfectly good place to start. What about culture, science, survival, or technology? Is there anything else in the smarts realm that Nicole's got going on right off the bat?
Trying to think. I think there would be at least one in probably technology.
Okay.
In my head, I'm like, anyone who's running a business has to know how to at least start a computer.
I mean, yes.
Or managing.
But you can hire people for that too, right?
That's true. That's true. But I feel like she's going to university, so she has to have a little bit of know-how, at least to not get a snag. Okay. So at least if there's a D2, I think she's good. As long as there's a little bit, just a tiny bit.
All right. Sounds good. Do you want to move on to social now, or is there anything else you want to put into smarts right now?
I think that's it for smarts, alertness, and then just a little bit in tech.
All right. So for social, we've already talked about persuasion and streetwise being important. So I figure we put 2 into each of those to start with. So I could do a social 4, but we also have 2 points floating if you want to have a point in deception or animal handling or expression. If you want to do some artsy fun stuff. First I say these things, I'm
Let's
like,
see.
performance, not expression. There we go.
Yeah, I was like, wait, my sheet. I thought I was like,
This is what I get for doing things off. Yeah, no, performance and expression, two different words for the same thing. This is what I get for going off of notes rather than actually looking at a character sheet and being like, what is it? We got skills in this game. What do they do? That's it.
No, I think performance would work because of the fact that yes, I think so, especially having come from like the tournament situation where you're putting on a performance when you're doing forms and different things like that. So yes, I think she would be able to put on a performance if needed. Yeah.
1 or 2 points. D2 or D4.
Because how many do we have left to kind of throw around?
So we currently have spent, so 2 in strength, which are unspent. We have 4 points spent in speed, 3 points spent in smarts, and 4 points spent in social. So that gives us 5 left, I think. Because there's, sounds about right. 5.
Okay.
Of course, I say that, and then I'll start doing the math on this character just to double check. Like, we're 10 points over. How did that happen?
I think, I think at least a D2 for performance.
Okay. All right.
And then we already did we have D4 and persuasion D4 and streetwise or?
Yeah, that's what I put down already. Okay. So that has it 4.
Awesome.
All right. Do you want to spend our 2 points in strength?
Yes, I think so, to kind of up that a bit.
All right. Yes. So we don't really need athletics if we have acrobatics, unless you want to be athletic as well and like run, jump, climb.
Maybe a D2.
Ron is carrying things. D2.
Maybe like a D2. Yeah.
All right. Brawn for carrying heavy things. Conditioning for extra health. Might, though I don't think you need that very much because you're going with the finesse plan, and intimidation.
Maybe conditioning.
All right. Mm-hmm. With D2 in athletics and +1 conditioning. Mm-hmm. All right, so that is done. All right, circling back to speed, we have a D2 in acrobatics currently, and a D6 in finesse. And our other options here are driving, infiltration, initiative, and targeting.
Let's put that in. Let's go ahead and put it in driving.
Okay. So 1 point, 2 points.
We have 2. I would say 1 and then maybe 1 in initiative.
All right. All right, so anything left to add to smarts? We have 3 points left between strength 2, speed 6, smarts 4, and social 5, or smarts 3 currently.
Let's see. I think if there's 3, you said there's 3, correct?
There are 3 points left, yes.
I think maybe upping because survival.
Cat tax. Hello, YouTube. Enjoy the cat.
Hello, kitty. But culture, can you tell me a little bit more about culture, just so that I can make sure I'm understanding?
Sure. So culture is a wide variety, kind of catch-all of academic knowledge that does not fit into science, survival, or technology. So it's things like history. It's also knowing about language, artistic style, food, things of that nature, things that you could pull up, various trivia, knowing flags, things like that.
Things like, okay, like everything but that. Okay.
So
like the things besides science and math and got it. Okay.
So
I was just trying to make sure.
It's history, it's English, it's anthropology, it's, you know, it's most other smart things that you'd be like, doesn't fall under science, fall under technology.
Okay, yeah.
So it's
okay, making sure that I was understanding correctly. Okay. I think culture, we want to try to up that because I do feel like she's I mean, she's studied, so she's going to be aware of various things.
All right.
And then let's see.
All right, so that does leave us two more. Do you have a plan for them, or would you like to hear suggestions?
I want suggestion.
All right. So I would recommend that you spend 1 point in speed to get yourself a once you're at a D6, it's worth it to get a specialization. So since fighting is something that is important to you, I would suggest that you go with a D6 with one of your specializations related to either weapons, because you mentioned Eskrima, or just hand-to-hand martial arts. And then
yes, I agree with that.
Speed.
I would say definitely this trying to go for a specialization when it comes to martial arts for sure.
Are we looking at which style are we looking at? Are we looking at unarmed? Are we looking at with a kind of weapon?
Oh yes, what I mentioned earlier, the Filipino martial art of like Arnis or Eskrima. Depends. It depends on what system you trained in. But yes, I think it's Arnis is the one that's mentioned in the book, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. So then I would suggest we put our last point into social and either sharpening up persuasion or streetwise to be that D6. So that'll is kind of your primary social, and you have your primary speed, and then everything else you've got covered in various degrees.
Yes, I think let's put that in the streetwise.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. Now that we have that, we are going to grab your perks from your various sources. So we're going to do that from your role, your influence, and your origin. And I say that like I have everything queued up, but I do not, because I'm making this up as I go along too. Surprise, YouTube.
We got it. We're in this together, Ben. We got this.
We got triple strike attacks.
This is the hard part. There's so many good ones.
Is it hard though? Because like at this point, everything's just kind of filled itself out. We picked our core things. You didn't pick an origin or role that requires you to take a general perk at level 1. So
I might be looking at things that I don't have at the moment because this is level 1. Never mind.
That's right. Yeah, just being like, I was about to say, I think most of your decisions are made at this point. Like it's 5:39. We was not sure what else we're gonna fill the next 20 minutes with, but it's
no, totally no. I was like, wait, no, I'm jumping ahead because in my head I'm like, there's some really cool things that you can do as a Yellow Ranger, but not yet. Soon in the future.
In the future, yes, you have to figure out what your Zord is. You'll have to figure out all kinds of other things, but right now you do not. So.
Womp womp. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just going to get all of your stuff in one place, and then we'll read through it, and then we're going to see if there's anything else that we need to do, which I don't think there is. Other than continue to talk about how you want to see this character develop in the campaign, which let's talk about at least for a minute. So you're a manager at the juice bar. You've definitely got your own class.
Mm-hmm.
How well is that class going? How well is Nicole's class at the juice bar? Does she find there being no problem getting students and keeping them? Are there key students that she has come to know during this time period that might show up in our adventures? Tell me more about that.
I think it's one of those situations that will be reminiscent of like a Cobra Kai situation where you're trying to like kind of regain the glory of days of old, as far as people would come and take classes from our Red Ranger, Jason, so they were taking classes with this great teacher, or everyone remembers what it was like before, but now that that's passed and they haven't had it for a while, she's trying to bring the classes back. And in doing so, people are maybe more interested in Zumba or or doing yoga. And so it's like trying to get people to kind of be interested, or just lifting. So trying to get people like, hey, like, I'm starting this back up. Like, I know you remember, this guy, but I'm just as good. I promise that you'll learn a lot from me. Let me teach you the ways. And then it's kind of like hit or miss, but I think gradually she ends up basically gaining a regular student base. And I think that's probably kind of the beginning of her building building a solid group in order to basically move on eventually to her own dojo.
I liked that at first you were like, there's a whole Cobra Kai situation. Then in my head as a storyteller, I'm just like, all right, well, cool. There's going to be some rival dojo masters who may or may not be Psycho Ranger members. Like, this is great. And then you're like, no, the real problem is getting people to sign up for classes. And I'm just like, okay, we can do this.
I mean, we can also to make it. Yeah, if that's an option, I'm down for like a rival situation. I didn't know that was on the table, Ben.
Like, well, you guys. So this is why we sit down and we have these conversations, because like you have cool things going on in your player mind. In my GM mind, I'm got 12 different things going on. I've got like 3 villains. Which one am I going to do? And then it's like, oh no, intergalactic. Oh, time travel martial arts competition. Perfect story. Oh, I can work with this.
Yeah,
as a GM, I'm filling up my notebook over here.
Yeah, and I'm just throwing stuff out there, but I am totally open to these different really cool, battles of the battle of the dojo, but like intergalactic elements being added. That's cool, because also 2 really cool monster ideas there. In my head I could picture some really crazy stuff happening with that. So no, that's the thing, is that as a player I could think, oh, like this is kind of what I'm thinking, but then also too, I love incorporating my whatever character I'm kind of thinking in my head to the world, or whatever the GM or DM has in mind, because then it's some cool different ideas get exchanged, and then something that's even better than what either of us planned happens. So no, that sounds awesome.
That's the beauty of telling stories together in the Power Rangers role-playing game, right, folks?
Yes.
And by that I mean any role-playing game where you tell a story together.
Collaborative storytelling, folks.
And there you go. And that's one of the reasons that I firmly suggest that you get together with your group. You have a session 0. You talk about those important issues that will go on at the table between, like where are lines, where are veils, or what safety tools are we going to use, but also like what bad guys do we want to see? Is this going to be a silly story, or is this going to be like a heavily dramatic, heartfelt story where, the usual game table jokes about Cheetos will not exactly fit in, but it's good for us to all be on the same page with that. Especially in SS20, one of the important things about your session 0 can be, how do you handle defeat? Because as we know, in SS20, defeat means a lot of things, from do you knock somebody out and they disappear only to be seen another time, but you've stopped their foils? Or do you just, or is there murder on the table? Because that's a big difference when it comes to, are we doing Saturday morning fun time, or are we doing
going
something
dark?
more? Are we going DC Universe dark?
Ooh.
So those are all things to figure out with your table together. So going through the next steps of character creation, we have gathered up our perks, which is our athletic influence perk, which allows you to roll any strength die with a D2 even if you don't have it. Then we have our influence perks, which are martial artist, that allows you to size up other fighters if you observe them for just a minute, which will be key for those time traveling martial arts tournaments that we're going to have. You have your community helper, which you gain edge on persuasion tasks related to building up and networking with other businesses and helping people make good decisions. But the hang up of you run into dangerous situations to help others without thinking, which I'm sure will not come into play at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I mean, that's a great one. And then we have our teacher influence perk. You help others do much better when you assist them, provided that you can get out of your own way and allow them to follow the lessons that you have put forward.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
In addition to that, we've got this Morphin Time, which allows you to generate your Morphin Shell, and I believe you have light armor. So you get when you're morphed. Not that one. This is the sign of I'm a game developer and I've got too many books up, and I immediately swap over my first available tab, which is GI.
I'm like totally different armor and weapons, but I'm not mad at it. Like if it's like a crossover, I'm here for it. The ultimate crossover.
I am also a fan of crossovers, but yes. So yes, you train your light armor, so you get your +1 toughness bonus, your triple jump distance. You can summon power-based weapons to your hands. That's something else we could talk about. What are your power weapons? Are you rocking the double size, or are we doing like power eskrima sticks, or? Yeah, that sounds like it would be the thing that fits best.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like the power sticks, I think that makes the most sense.
Okay.
Since the size is like definitely different. I mean, you can still do that with that particular style, but I feel like the sticks, it feels right. For sure. Double wielding.
Yep. And then your other role perk at level 1 is triple strike attacks, which allow you to hit more often than other rangers. So yeah.
Which I feel like is perfect and realistic for sticks, what you're able to do, which is perfect. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, with that being said, we have a character together. We will be posting this on our website as an available pre-gen for folks to download, so that you can get your party started with, help me with the name, with Nicole Freeman, the martial arts, the Yellow Ranger martial artist.
Yes.
And thank you so much for helping me make this character together, Briana.
Of course. Thanks for having me again. It's always a good time, and I'm super excited for being able to play this character and a little bit more and dive into some fun stuff, hopefully.
So, is this the character that you have made previously for your live play game?
Yes,
or
but
is this
revamped.
A completely new character?
So revamped. So yes. So in that particular adventure we played, it was actually a future, into the future, but basically think of middle-aged rangers. If that was a thing, like, we might have seen a little bit of that.
We had a whole Netflix special.
Movie. Yeah, and the special. Yeah, I was like,
exactly.
Some of you might be familiar with that. So it's kind of that vibe of hey, maybe they need the middle-aged Rangers who have been through some things to now help save Angel Grove from danger, with back pains and all, those kinds of issues. Very
Hey,
realistic.
once a
Yes.
ranger, always a ranger, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but this is now kind of her younger self that I created, a little different. So,
All right,
yeah.
super cool. All right, so remind people about where they can find you on the internet.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Briana. You can find me at UTAHIME, Utahime Cosplay, pretty much everywhere except on the app formerly known as Twitter. You can find me at Briana DeCoster on there. And